How many of you heard of my country or been to Estonia? Anyone? Wow, great. And it's much easier task for me. So I'm really happy to be here in London after 8 years And I come here today to give you some inspiration. We've heard a lot about the barriers while building digital services, and I think they're all right. But Estonia as a startup country, in a way, proves that everything is possible. And when it comes to digital services, we have actually them in place. And before I start with the presentation, I'll just share my personal experience in London Gatwick Airport. When I just arrived, my driving license was expired. And I logged on to the vehicle registry portal with my mobile ID. Just didn't have internet on the phone, but had it on the computer. And in 2 minutes, I could renew my driving license and order that to my home address. So by the time I'll be back next week, the driving license, a new one, will be there. And I've seen a beautiful interface with the digital data available on my medical records being suitable for driving. I could choose from 2 of the pictures the population registry had that I would have on the driving license, and I could pay with a bank link a governmental fee. And all of that took just a few minutes. And once again, I thought of the Estonian government, and I said, well done. So my experience with digital society comes back 5 years when I was starting to work with ICT sector and building this e-Estonia brand and awareness about digital services. As Estonia definitely has gone too far, it seems like my presentation a bit uses as well modern technology, and as the same way some of my views might seem a little bit too futuristic. But let's go on. So today I'll tell you the epic story of the e-Estonia, and I hope you'll agree with me that it's really is in a way epic. So back in this Estonia, I'm managing the e-Estonia showroom, where all of the international business people, government representatives, high-level media and investors are expected to build connections with the Estonian ICT sector to learn about the e-governance and services. And this is where we host over 10,000 people per year. So the 15 minutes is definitely not enough. Anyone who has not yet been to Estonia, please welcome. But to give you some background on how did our country emerge this way, in the 90s, when the Soviet Union collapsed, we had to build an independent capitalism. And as you know, obviously we don't have gas, oil, gold, nuclear power, none of that. Just 1.3 million of population and land half covered with woods. But from Soviet time, we have gotten a technological competence and a lot of engineers and the Cryptography Institute. So our government started to push and build a totally new legal framework that supports IT and data exchange. So we just had to be innovative. It's not because we wanted to. And since we couldn't afford Microsoft, Cisco, and Accenture and the strongest IT companies at the time, we could only use Estonian local companies. So there was no plan B, so plan A had to work. So today, Estonia is recognized internationally not only by Digital 5, which is a community of e-governance leadership countries, together with Israel, South Korea, UK, by the way, and New Zealand. And the World Bank recently in Digital Dividends wrote over 15 pages about the e-governance experience as a really successful one. So with the UK, of course, we have a collaboration in terms of e-governance, as well with Dubai, Finland, actually many other countries, and Japan as well has taken some of our experience. So if I just show you some of the indexes, the tax competitiveness, as the tax management, collection, and so on. It's #1 according to OECD in Estonia. The EU Digital Economy and Society Index put us on the #1 within the Europe in terms of e-services that we have. Of course, internet is everywhere, and internet freedom as well. Ease of doing business is also quite good. So when speaking about the e-state, it's about redefining the whole governance. It's not putting PDFs on the web pages. It's a totally new understanding of service delivery. And in many cases, government should be kind of invisible. Using technology by the government doesn't mean people have to have all the skills and be a programmers to be able to use that. On the contrary. So some of the principles of digital society we have in Estonia is one of the main ones is a once only. Once the government has the information about you, they wouldn't ask for it again, and it's legislatively fixed. Services are 24/7 available, and they're digital by default. So this is number one service, and then you think of the support in physical. Of course, open platforms in order to make different institutions being able to attach to the data exchange layers on their own time and pace when they're digitalized all the data, when they have everything ready. And of course, user-friendliness and experience. So how easy it is for people to use these services online. So of course, there are many more, but the initiative has to come from the government on local or municipal level, on federal level. So the private sector role here is to help and support all of that. So what we've achieved is transparency and accountability of the state. We have 99% of all state services available online, and people are really actually happy about it. So e-state stands for empowerment, obviously. And when I'm saying 99% of services, it's much easier to say what we cannot do online in my country. So we don't want to compete with Las Vegas, right? So we don't want to get marriage online, neither the divorce. And selling or buying a property would be also complicated. You would need a notary. But everything else, from having a new driving license, put a name to your baby, apply for whatever social benefits, you can get all of that for that one single portal, a state portal. And of course, single identification, like a state-issued e-ID, which the ID card was not so successful in UK as I've heard. But once you offer people services and benefits, when there's no need to queue somewhere or pay additional fees, then maybe they will reconsider having some state-issued digital identity. That's a birch tree. So in spring, it's everybody's social right to have some birch tree juice. And this is the same attitude we have with the internet. Like internet is a social right. So in our airport or any other service place, you will not have any limits for the Wi-Fi, and you will not have to fill a lot of the blanks. We have a broadband almost everywhere. We are developing 100 megabit per second connection in the small villages already. In all the high density regions we have it. A 5G pilot is expected in 2018. And well, free Wi-Fi areas you will find all around the country, because this is just having hot water, electricity, and this is as same. And here are some examples of the e-solutions we have, and of course e-state stands for the ease. It's our cabinet of ministers. While they're sitting down and discussing and deciding, they don't sit 5 hours, they have to spend only 30 minutes. Of course, no one says they have to work less, but still, administrative processes, getting acquainted with an agenda, digitally signing some decisions, it all happens in a much faster pace. When it comes to tax declarations, 95% of all tax declarations are submitted online in the first 2 weeks. And it's done this way because it takes me 3 minutes to practically check the data the government has, that the bank has verified. Study institutions added their tax deductible data. So for me, it's just checking and submitting. And the legal guarantee for people who prefer online a tax declaration is they will receive a money refund in just 5 days' time. Well, I mentioned 99% of state services, and these are not forms that you have to fill. The data and the services are based on the integrated information from different institutions, and so you have to fill some of the gaps, or in many cases you just have to press OK button or something like that. Estonia remains one and only country where we have internet-based voting, and not only it's because people don't trust the eye things in the rest of the world, but because there is almost no other country where is the digital identity or e-identity is so well spread. In Estonia, the ID card, our e-identity and the mobile ID penetration is 94%. So this gives us the strongest digital identity with the digital signature opportunities to know who is in front of the computer, 100%. And while voting online, over 30% of people cast their vote last year's parliamentary elections, and they were in 120 countries. So these are not youngsters with computers who vote online. The people who are voting online are above 35. So it also takes 3 minutes, by the way. And where all of our government is heading is the invisible governance, is when private sector often takes care of you, offers you the services according to your life situation, like using some artificial intelligence, so why not governments? In Estonia, this is exactly how services are compacted, put together according to your life situation and offered to you. Financial sector, pretty remarkable. We have never used checkbooks. We don't want to wait that long. So from all the financial transactions, almost 100% is happening online. So it's a great impact on the grey economy, and it means that my last time to the bank was 5 years ago. Since then, I got a home loan, I got at least a car, and I'm making all my transactions and payments every month. It's just I'm doing all of that electronically with an online bank. And very practical thing, when 8 years ago I was in London and I was sick and I needed my prescribed medication, none of the pharmacies obviously given it to me because I didn't have a paper with me. In Estonia, I can get a prescribed medicine after a phone call to my doctor, and I can visit whatever pharmacy in the whole country, in the smallest island, and I will pick it up based on my EID. So this is how over 99% of the prescribed medication is issued. And the business side, obviously, all that Estonian government is doing is aimed to simplify doing business for people. To establish a company in Estonia, it will take 18 minutes. We are not having lower expectations or checks or less checks. We're just checking the criminal record, the population record, the credit information. We're talking to the bank, but it all happens in no time, checking the availability of the name, filling the statute, and all of the process in just 5 minutes time. That's as well one of the world records. So when we're speaking about the e-state, definitely efficiency is one of the things we have, not only saving finances, but saving nature as well. Estonia is known from the cleanest air in the whole world. I was surprised, by the way. If we take just digital signature alone, so digitally signing voting ballots, digitally signing transactions, digitally signing any agreements, applications, working contracts, this saves us around 2% of GDP yearly. That's our defense budget, basically. Our police is 50 times more efficient because they don't even have to stop us to check us. They just drive behind, they type the car plate number into the onboard computer, and they see your good and bad behavior map with all the validity of your documents, your gun permits, and drink and driving history. So they will never stop you without reason. They're not allowed to. Well, managing work and business distantly, I couldn't put any number there because convenience is really hard to put into some physical numbers. But from the prescriptions point of view and e-health system, which we as well have, there is less queues in the hospitals by 1/3 because people don't come for administration, they come to get real help. And well, i-voting, of course, is cheaper. We still have to maintain some of the physical places, but for all the people around the world, for non-resident citizens and so on, it's much more convenient. You will not like the next slide. As you know, Estonia is not the wealthiest country in the world, so let's get it right. When it comes to e-governance, of course, we have succeeded and we have managed to reach a lot. But when we see at the costs and look at the costs, so having all the IT we have today for all the different variety of services we have just to maintain everything without having to create something new, in a year we're spending around 50 million euros. And UK is spending 400 times more. And I'm not sure the services are there at the level. It just means, of course, you need more computers, you need more licenses, you need more technology, but this just doesn't talk to each other in an efficient and really efficient way that can be created and could be created while there would be open platforms in use, and so on. And this slide is about the e-identity, our cornerstone that everybody are using, so single entry point in a way. So our ID card, the state issued, is popular in over 94% of people. We have as well mobile ID, which is a mobile version of identification and digital signature, which I personally use because it's just as convenient. It works with any mobile phone, and our telcos are issuing that on behalf of the state. So the e-ID, the ID card, as you can see in the picture, we use it not only for identification and traveling. I came here with ID card, but also for digital signature, for services, for healthcare services, for voting, for business, for banking. It works instead of a driving license, for public transportation, as we don't have to have we have electronic tickets, not paper ones, and as a loyalty card in many stores. So you can imagine having one card, having 2 PIN codes, you as a business person, as a government representative, as a citizen can access all the services online and can give digital signature, which is the same power as the physical one. So my time is going to finish. So I'd like to introduce you to Estonian mafia principle. It's not about we're gonna, not like Italian one. It's more about the startups. When I was in the tube today, I saw TransferWise advertising. So they moved from Estonia to London and reside here now. TransferWise is all about money transfers, avoiding the bank fees. Skype, obviously, all of you at least once have used some of our startups, which has grown big. Linguist is a great startup that will teach you English. Well, you obviously don't need it, but they are doing that in 200 hours. That's the promise within the whole Japan in the educational system. And Jabatical, if you ever get tired of your daily work, you can take a Jabatical, not like a sabbatical for half a year doing nothing, but working on some real interesting project somewhere else without losing your job. And the most groundbreaking solution that is in a startup, governmental startup, as you can see, our government is thinking very quickly in a way. So we're offering today a e-residency, which is the Estonian State EID that we're issuing to all the international business people so they can access our business services distantly. So there would be no need to come to Estonia, but you can have a juridical body established in 18 minutes with the convenience. You can have a bank account, and during this year, it will be possible to open a bank account distantly as well with a Skype meeting, because you can have biometric technology, which will clarify that this is you much better than any human. So this is our way to show the rest of the world how simple business administration could be, how simple taxation and tax declarations online are, what's the e-customs about, how annual report for a company can only be electronical. And of course, we are not going to be a tax mecca, because the taxes will be paid where the value is generated. But e-residency, it's really gained very much popularity in just over a year. There's over 10,000 people already who have applied. There's over 450 new companies established so far with the program. So we're encouraging everyone to just test it out. If you're not a business person or freelancer or a small medium entrepreneur, then just to have a look how digital signature works, you can try it out. And basically, to sum up, we have a lot of different projects, of course, in the pipeline, but the major one is the government should become invisible. The government should take care of us more like a private sector. And the legacy and the systems, the legislation should support this invisibility. So people can get benefits, people feel that they're taken care of. And I believe this is the future of any government today. So thank you.